everybody's different, and they learn or they develop at their own speed. And somebody like me, I used for 25 years straight. So I probably took a little bit longer than most people, but that's just what I needed to get my wits about me, to understand what I was going through and how to change my life for the better.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
Welcome to Tulsa Talks. We have Sammy Smith for round two. He's here to talk about education and personal growth. And pretty interesting because you have a new opportunity set out in front of you.
Yes, sir.
And
thanks to you.
We have talked about spiritual awareness.
Right.
And so many people want to paint God into a box and want to say, you got to believe this way.
You got to believe the way they believe.
And they want to press it on you.
Of course. And
that is off-putting to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the man that was just here, John from over in Arkansas, says, long-winded way of saying what I said. I asked him a question, what's the difference in religion and spirituality? And his answer was pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
And I've boiled it down to this simple. Religion, which God and Jesus hates, is following what man tells you.
Right.
And spirituality is living what God shows you. And you've had an amazing adventure of a life.
You could say that.
That you've been equipped, and you went through a rehab program as well as like one of these 12-step programs.
I have been to many rehab programs.
Yeah. And finally, one of them worked because Sammy was ready?
Yeah. You could say that. Yeah.
What would you say?
I would say that, it was this specific program. I'm not going to name it, but it was there for me in my time of need. And I was also broken enough to do something different. So, yeah, you could say that.
So you were broken enough, and a tool that was okay was placed into your hands.
Correct.
And into your life.
Correct.
And why do you say that tool is okay without naming that system?
Right.
What was their short? Why? Where do they fall short?
I think over time, for me personally, I think there's, how do I say this without putting it down? There's not just one way to skin a cat in theory.
Yeah, just like we were just talking about religion and spirituality.
Yeah. And I feel like this specific program, if you don't follow exactly what they say, you're doomed. And I don't agree with that theory. I agree with a lot of the things that I learned and the fellowship and all that. But once you start, dictating my future by telling me I have to do certain things, or I could potentially die if I don't do these things, it's very discouraging, to say the least.
Kind of like they want to keep you in bondage?
Of course, yeah.
Why would they want to keep you in bondage?
I think it's just something that they've been taught for years, and they don't know any different. And none of the old timers, is what they call them, have strayed from that. So it works for them, and they just keep preaching that, and it's their way of life now.
Yeah. I propose that God can break a person and cure them without a 12-step or a 10-step program.
Right.
I say that he can also break a person and cure them through one.
Right. Everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah.
What tool do you need in your hand? And how long do you need to stay in a program, the same program, without any further growth?
Right.
Than that program.
Everybody's different, and they learn or they develop at their own speed. And somebody like me, I used for 25 years straight. So I probably took a little bit longer than most people, but that's just what I needed to get my wits about me, to understand what I was going through and how to change my life for the better. Finally. Yeah.
So how long ago has that been since you've been clean?
July 6th will be 5 years.
Okay. And you guys get some kind of ribbon or some kind of trinket for every year? Is that how that goes?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I think pretty much all the major programs do offer some kind of chip or key tag or something like that. Some kind of, ribbon
a trinket.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool and keeps people encouraged.
Of course,
degree.
yeah.
People need that boys.
Yeah.
People need to be seen and accepted and encouraged.
Yes.
And we are launching a whole system of education and personal growth, which helps people to connect with themselves, those around them, and then the community at large.
Right.
And then determining my life's work is helping people to engage inside themselves to see what God has created them to be at a younger age, instead of waiting until they're 70 years old and wishing they had known.
Right.
And another thing that we're launching is the recovery pathway. And I have a pastor that wants to meet you.
Yeah. Good.
Did you hear? He did. He said, I want this whole system. He's got about a 400 congregation Sunday morning attendance.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to meet you. I want to introduce you to the guy that's going to be doing this with us. And he said, I want to meet him. He said, I know you and Jesse.
Yeah.
If he's anything like you and Jesse, I want the whole thing.
That's really neat.
I want to bring this to my congregation and to as many other people as I can.
To everybody.
What you're doing, that's what he said. He said, I want to bring this to my congregation and to as many people as I can, because what you're doing is amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
And, I'm humbled that God has connected with me, with myself, and as many people as he's bringing into this. It's going to be an amazing ride.
It takes an army.
Yeah. And I've been told that I was crazy.
I can see that.
You can see that I'm crazy?
Yeah, well, I think it's misunderstood. Different. You're definitely different, but you're definitely for sure at what you want to do, and very motivating too. I've always thought about doing something like this, and I didn't really know what my goal in life was, especially mixed up with drugs and alcohol. You lose yourself. But since I was able to get sober and gain some ground, my passion is helping other people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be people like me. It could be anybody. It doesn't matter. Anybody that needs help or anybody that's struggling. I just have more experience with people like me, of course. But I've also broadened my skills in mental health and a lot of other things. And everybody needs some kind of help, So I think it's really cool to put it to action.
What are you currently doing?
As far as employment, or I currently work at a drug treatment center here in Tulsa.
What has that given to you?
I think one of the biggest things for me, being the introvert and the isolator that I was when I first started, it's given me people skills, something I've never had. I've never been able to hold conversation. I used to not even be able to look people in the eyes. That's how isolated I was and ashamed of things I had done. But it's really taught me to open up and get out of myself and talk to other people. And it's not about me. It's about seeing how they're doing or checking on them, showing hope. People like us, when we get sober, you're at the end of the road and there's no hope for people like us. You think, of course, but what's
peculiar is I was never an alcoholic or a druggie.
Yeah.
But I had tremendous strife.
Yeah.
of end of my rope, emotions,
Yeah.
and dead end roads,
Yep.
and impossibilities to overcome,
Same.
and a lot of people that have not lived my life and have not lived your life and have not lived anybody else's life, because we all walk it out.
Unique. Everybody's unique to their own lifestyle.
But how easy is it to judge and condemn those that are in a pressurized situation that don't know where to turn,
Easy.
especially if you've never walked it?
Yeah. I see it all the time. Yeah.
So
It's
how do we
terrible.
help? So I am a Christian. I do believe that Jesus came and showed us how to live, and he went to the ones that were hurting and knew they were hurting. He didn't go to the ones that had it all together.
Right.
So in a way of thinking, the people that know that they're hurting and know that they've been broken
Yeah.
are probably better
Right.
than those that have always had it all together.
Very true.
So how do we reach those that have had it all together is a good question.
Yeah.
Jesus did a few people that were religious leaders, whatever, but most of his following were people, everyday people with everyday struggles.
Right.
So my question to us is, how do we meet those people that don't know that they're broken?
Those are the hardest ones.
Yeah. And how do we allow those people that are broken to know that that's a gift? Maybe they're in the middle of being broken.
Right.
And how do we reach out to them and help them realize the amazing life that might be set in front of them one day?
Yeah.
I say we have to meet people where they are.
Have to.
I say that we can't give anything to anybody that doesn't want to receive it.
Never be able to.
5 years,
Yeah.
like in year 3 or 4, what could have been done differently? Could you have done anything differently before you were ready to receive the difference?
No, not at all. I've had ample opportunities to do something different and basically a red carpet laid out to live a different lifestyle, but I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. But the thing about being broken is it doesn't really matter where you've been. I just knew that I wasn't willing to keep living the way I was living, and I was willing to try just about anything to not live how I was living previous. And I'd heard all my life growing up what I needed to do. It was just putting action behind it. You know, I was not broken enough. I thought it was just going to come to me, and it never did.
When you were 5 years old, could you imagine going through that 5-year spell?
No, not when I was younger like that. No.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's how I see adults. Most people that are 3 to 7 years old, maybe their parents do it, but I would hope that they wouldn't think it. But nobody that I hung out with or knew in the little town that I lived in could imagine growing up to want to be a junkie.
Yeah, no. I don't think anybody grows up to want to be that.
So that's how I look at adults.
Yeah.
And I look at the ones that are aggressive and abrasive, like, apparently you are hurting.
Yeah. That's what it boils down to.
Apparently you're hurting.
Yeah.
And the ones that are druggies or homeless, I look at those guys like, yeah, you probably didn't plan this when you were younger.
No, none of us did.
And I'm looking at them thinking, how do I connect these people? How do I love on these people?
Yeah.
And then I look at those people that are on television screaming at each other, talking about how bad this other person is.
Yeah.
Trying to get everybody riled up.
It's all negative.
And I want to be a positive, shining light in the world of loving people where they are, accepting them for who they are, and hopefully encouraging them to realize they don't have to hurt the rest of their lives.
Right. It's a big thing.
So enough about me and the ministry. It's supposed to be about Sammy Smith.
Yeah.
So help me.
Help you. What do you need to know, Craig?
I'm just lost for words when I'm around you, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a real presence, and I really appreciate that. Everybody else I can kind of pick on, but you, I don't know, man. I'm just I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, man. It's always a good time coming here, spending time with you and Jesse, and being part of the movement, you know?
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?